Davros is very difficult to kill. We've seen him supposedly die on screen many times, and yet he always manages to return. Despite being centuries old and terribly wounded, Davros is kept alive by his chair, his life support system, which was constructed by the Kaleds in order to keep him alive after his body was destroyed by a Thal attack. The chair almost works too well, however. It seems that Davros is almost impossible to kill. In Genesis of the Daleks, we see Davros' first death. He's betrayed and shot by his Daleks, and it appears that it is the end for the Daleks' creator. However, in the initial draft of Genesis of the Daleks, a scene was included that showed a light on Davros' chair blinking, much like how the light on the ruins of the Emperor Dalek's casing blinked at the end of Evil of the Daleks. This would imply that Davros had survived, and Terry Nation clearly considered that to be the case as Davros appears again in Destiny of the Daleks, initially as an inert corpse. He's later revived thanks to his life support system keeping him in stasis all these years. Davros' next death occurs in Resurrection of the Daleks. After conspiring to destroy the Dalek Empire and replace it with a new race of Daleks loyal only to him, Davros is infected by the Mavellan virus, a pathogen designed to attack Dalek tissue, and seemingly succumbs to the same disease as the Daleks did. However, Davros is not a Dalek, and while his Kaled physiology is similar to that of a Dalek is far more mutated. It is therefore likely that the Mavellan virus did not affect Davros as it did the Daleks, and his life support system was able to save him once again. We next hear from Davros in the Davros audio story, in which he is found by Arnold and Lorraine Baines and employed at TAI alongside the Doctor. At the start of the audio, Davros appears dead, and is salvaged merely as a trophy of Dalek-related memorabilia. However, his life support system revives him. At the end of the audio, Davros' ship blows up, but he is able to escape via an escape pod, and states in Revelation of the Daleks that he was able to transmat himself to Necros. Davros had several near-death experiences later on down the line, being mauled to near death by his own juggernauts on Lethe, and escaping in a pod with less than a second to spare as the Imperial Dalek mothership was destroyed by the Hand of Omega in remembrance of the Daleks. He also briefly spent time as a captive of the Wraiths of Lemuria, and later succumbed to the inert personality of the Dalek Emperor left over from remembrance of the Daleks, but all that was dealt with by the time the Time War came around. Davros' next death occurred during the Time War itself. Due to the temporal nature of the war, however, these may or may not have happened, and Davros was eventually rescued from the war by Dalek Khan. He appeared to die at the end of Journey's End, screaming as the Dalek crucible burned around him. However, he later appeared alive but extremely ill on Skara in The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. At this point, Davros was centuries old and was finally dying. However, he was able to siphon some regeneration energy from the Doctor to prolong his own life. Despite being trapped in the collapsing Dalek city, it is inevitable that Davros will one day return. Do you have any theories as to how Davros survived any of these deaths? How do you think Davros will return again in the future? Let me know in the comments below.